We are live. Cool. So this workshop is talking about the intangibles of a manager. Said differently, how to be a positive role model inside your vector office. So I want to go ahead and start off by saying that this is stuff that you probably already know, but I think it's important to bring to the surface as reminders of what it takes to be a good leader and a manager inside the business, which you probably have an answer already. So let's start off with let's take, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds. Let's see what comes to your mind, maybe 30 seconds. When enterprise, when you would describe being a positive role model, how would you describe the intangibles? What do I mean by intangibles? Items that you don't quantify. Things you don't quantify. It's not performance. It's just the more characteristics of the leader, more so. Intangibles, what we call. Let's just take your list. Take another 15 seconds. See what comes to your mind. Intangibles of being a positive role model, or intangibles of being a manager. We'll go around the horn. You'll give us one. And you also give us what do you appreciate right now. Let's see what you guys all come up with. So let's start with Steven. What's one of yours and what do you appreciate? 10 seconds or less.
Don't be too cool to school, like lead by example, by doing what you're asking for. And what I appreciate is keep stepping.
Cool. Jules, and then we'll go Sierra and then Joshi.
Lead by example.
What?
I also wrote lead by example.
So if we have different ones, ideally.
Yeah.
If you don't have a different one, then just put pass. Cool. And what do you appreciate right now?
Being here.
Sierra, and then Joshi, and then Danielle.
High communication.
Cool. And what do you appreciate?
Also, using my time today to be efficient.
Love it. We'll go Joshi, Danielle, and then Bella.
Like open criticism. And what I appreciate, I guess basketball after this, looking forward to that.
Good. And Danielle, Bella, Nicole?
Like practice what you preach. Like don't tell someone to do something if you're not doing it yourself.
Mm.
And then I appreciate being able to go on all the vacations that I've been going on.
Yeah, it's exciting. Bella, Nicole, then Josh.
Like giving encouragement, just being a positive role model, and having high energy. And then what I appreciate is just being here.
All right. Nicole, Josh, Zach, and then Trey.
A positive role model has like a good attitude and is understanding, and then I appreciate being able to live with my friends.
Awesome. Josh?
I think a positive role model is someone that's compassionate and loyal. And something I appreciate is all the people I've gotten to meet, since I started working here.
Cool. And then Zach, and then Trey.
So someone that someone wants to be around, and then I appreciate being able to be here today.
Cool. And then Trey.
Being someone that's like cool, but they don't want to piss off, like have the mystique.
And what do you appreciate?
Oh man, my cat.
Cool. Deal. So I narrowed it down to 4. I have 4, and I like your list. I think you all came up with a great list, and I think most of them are in my list too. And the 4 that I'm going to give you are no surprise because it's actually in my day 1 of training opening comments every single week. So if you remember my opening comments or you remember walking through my opening comments, but the 4 items that I have is number 1 is positive attitude. Number 2 is, anybody remember?
Nope, that was 2 years ago.
Be responsible. Number 3,
Communication.
high communication. And number 4,
Be prepared.
show up prepared. Yeah, you got it. What's interesting enough, I'll tell you a funny story about those 4 items, is that hey Chels.
I know.
Straggler.
We tried the other.
is to come up with those four items. Ready? It took about a month. So how much time in that month? Maybe about 8 hours for me to figure out, to simplify what it takes to be a positive role model. Interesting enough, right? Like the mission statement that sits on the wall, that took like 9 hours of talking back and forth and mind mapping on a whiteboard to come up with 2 paragraphs. One paragraph, just the mission statement, right? So, but now I have clarity. And when you get clarity, it's like, this is what it takes in my mind as the business owner. So positive attitude, let's talk about it. How I describe having a positive attitude. Here's a couple of ways I describe it, using a couple of yours as well. I put down never broke, tired, or hungry. Never broke, tired, or hungry in front of those people that you're around. Why? Because who wants your job if you are broke, tired, and hungry? Right? Like, wow, you know what? I really admire you. I want your role. Because the role of the leader is for followers to say, I either want to be you or I want to be around you. Does everyone see? So you got to think about those 3 things: broke, tired, hungry. Never broke, tired, hungry. Said differently, make sure you have money, make sure you have energy, and make sure you have food. All right? Simple things. Under the banner of positive attitude, I put respect the process of growth with gratitude. So having a positive attitude means respecting the process. What do I mean by the process of growth? Especially during push weeks, when the roller coaster of emotion takes over, where you have a big sale and then it cancels, and then you have a no sale, and then a husband comes back and calls you and says, actually, we want to buy, and then you drive 45 minutes and then no one's there, and then you get home and your mom's like, actually, Susie's over and she wants to buy stuff, and it's like this roller coaster of emotions the whole day, right? That you have respect for that process of growth, and you have a smile on your face for the journey, and really understanding that, hey, this is part of the process, and respecting it with gratitude. That's what I mean by positive attitude. Not getting emotionally attached. So even keel could be another way of saying the same thing. Even keel. When I say positive attitude, I think about not absorbing negative energy. A positive role model that has a positive attitude doesn't absorb negative energy. What do I mean by negative energy? Energy that doesn't make you feel good. So for example, I had a session, I have done 18 or 19 one-on-ones this week so far. And I had one one-on-one today with someone who just had a vent. Like they just had a vent, they just had to get it off their chest of all the things that they had going on. And I was just a soundboard. I was just listening. And some of it was negative energy. A lot of it was negative energy. That's totally cool. They just had to get it out. That's what I'm here for. But I didn't absorb it. I didn't take the negative energy and allow it to affect me. It was like, it hit me and it repelled. And it hit me and it repelled. It hit me and it repelled. I was a vent. I was a good vent to kind of get it off their chest, but I didn't allow myself to absorb negative energy. Okay? So that's what we mean by positive attitude. Positive attitude. So when you have a rep complain to you about XYZ, it doesn't affect your day. It doesn't allow you to be like, oh my God, you're right. You know, if a friend tells you, I had a conversation with RJ. He's like, one of my friends is just so dumb. They're like so hung up on this whole scam thing. It's like, it pisses me off when people say bad things about the job. I'm like, that's absorbing negative energy. That's a good example of it. It's like, stinks for them. You know, stinks for them that they think that they miss out on this opportunity. It's kind of like the customer's like, no, my knives are fine. Stinks for you. Now you gotta use crappy knives, right? So that's what I mean by positive attitude. I also put under the umbrella of positive attitude is high energy. High energy. Having a contagious personality. I thought one of you guys put contagious personality. I love that. High energy, being contagious. The last 2 that I put on here for positive attitude is aligned with a bigger picture. Bigger picture. Bigger, something that is outside of the current reality that you're in. You're working towards something. And last one under positive attitude I put is no dumping. No dumping. This person I was talking to knew and had the sensory acuity to vent up. Because when you vent up, then it goes out and it's going forever. If you vent across, it stays and contaminates the space. And if you vent down, then you are tainting the perspective of those that you're following. So that's why you vent up, so it goes out and away, and it's gone forever. So no dumping. You never want to take any type of feelings that are not positive or good feelings and spread them to someone your same level or underneath you. Even I always have, but she's my friend or he's my friend. They're there to help me. Well, if you're their friend, don't complain to them. Especially during, like if you're an assistant manager. So I'm gonna pick on the two of you. Say the two of you are assistant managers together in the same room, right? In the same team, same office, same everything. And you say, oh my God, Mike, he's just such a jerk. You know, he's just like so mean sometimes. Saying that to her now creates a negative input on her perspective on me. So even though you feel that it's helping you or talking, you're not talking, you're complaining. The only one that can make Mike not be a jerk anymore is who? Is Mike. So by talking to Nicole would be complaining, would be dumping your emotion onto somebody else. She can't help you, only Mike can help you. That's called complaining. Does everyone see? There's complaining and there's problem solving. There's nothing in between. We either complain or we problem solve. And the only person that you can problem solve with is the person who can solve the problem with you. Everything else is complaining. That's what we mean by positive attitude. So let's call a timeout. That's number one. Number one is positive attitude of the intangibles. Let's debrief real quick. Any one of those land with you? Obviously, most of this stuff is pretty simple. Most of this stuff you already know. But any maybe one or two of you hear that, you're like, dang, that makes sense. I haven't thought about it that way. Josh.
Align with bigger picture.
What's that?
Align with bigger picture.
Why is that? Why did that land with you?
Kind of gives more purpose to what they're doing now, makes it more meaningful.
Love that. Yeah, that's a good word. What's a good word? Meaningful. Making their work today more meaningful. So as a leader, you give meaning to their work. So that way it gets them through whatever challenges they're getting through. Not only just yourself, but also the other people you're leading. I love that. Anyone else? Maybe one or two of you? So we'll go Nicole then Steve.
Okay, respecting the process of growth. Mostly because that's the thing that I've had the hardest time with.
So respecting the
Going
process.
Going through the roller coaster. That was one of my hardest things during the push, but since it, I think I've gotten better.
That's it. That's why we do the push. You know, that's why the coal goes through the pressure to become a diamond, right? You got to go through that tough love, that tough experience to respect it. Absolutely. Love that.
I'd say like the venting up instead of like across or down. Just letting it all out and not letting it stick with you.
Yeah, it's true. You don't want to taint the space. Good. Cool. So that's number one. Number one, positive attitude. Number two, what was number two? Be responsible. Let's talk about be responsible. This is pretty easy. In our business, it's easy because this is where you can quantify some of it. One of you said lead by example. Well, two of you actually said lead by example. That's what we mean by be responsible, is just do what you say you're going to do. I love what Sierra just said. What did Sierra just say? I came in this morning and I did my top 30 list. I said, who reminded you to do it? She said, what was your answer? No one told me. I just did it. Because it's Wednesday, and I know I'm going to make phone calls today, so I already did it. That's the epitome of be responsible. I didn't need anyone to tell me. I just know to come in with my top 30 list. So I worked on it today and this morning after Champions Club. So I was at the office for Champions Club, and then I worked on my top 30 list. Oh my gosh. What an awesome concept of be responsible. Everyone else hates you now, but at least it's a good example.
That's venting down, Mike. No.
So what is being responsible in our Cutco business? Well, MMC DMD, right? Make more calls, do more demos. We know that. Being responsible comes with, in our business, planning, like using a planner. Be responsible. Oh, crap, I forgot about that. Or, oh, I didn't know about that. Well, use a planner so that we don't have that happen. Use Siri. Hey, Siri, remind me of this, all that. Use your reminders on your phone. So planning. Being responsible is a paycheck meeting, the paycheck schedule meeting. So that way you could establish agreements, whether it's agreements with me or agreements with the people that you're making the agreements with. Agreements are probably one of the most important things that you want to get comfortable with in the leadership capacity. If you notice, what did I send to you after our conversation? Those of you guys that had conversations with me, what did I send to you within like 24 hours?
Our agreements.
A recap, right? A recap. So that way it's right in front of you, it's right in front of me, and I could easily remind you of what our agreements were and what our conversation entailed, right? So that agreement is being responsible, you being responsible and me being responsible as your coach to remind you and hold you accountable to what we just talked about. So that way it's not just like words, it's actually an agreement and it's meaningful, right? So that's important. The PSP planning, the other three things that come to my mind with being a leader is that are quantifiable are PR calling. Assistant managers will have certain time or certain amounts of PRs that they'll set up each week. So sometimes it was like when Zach was up in Indiana, it was 5. He just had to set his 5 each week when he was up in Indiana. Assistant managers this summer, if they were part-time, it was 15 a week. If they were full-time, it was 25 a week. And they just have a certain amount of people they need to set up. Now, it wasn't Zach's friends he was setting up for interviews. Like, remember at the end of training, you recommend this giant long list of all your friends? Well, assistant managers are the ones that set them up. So it could be your personal friends, or it could be friends of other people on the team, but just following through on the agreement. It's like, hey, you were going to set up 10, just set up 10. If you're going to set up 7, set up 7. Set up 5, set up 5. Same thing with selling. If you said you were going to make calls at this time, make your calls at this time. Keep track of your calls pickup set so we can quantify your efforts. So it's not like, yeah, I made my calls, no one picked up. It's like, how many calls did you make? How many pickups did you get? How many appointments did you set up? I love that's what Bella did today. She said, I'm going to make calls. Cool. Got 1 pickup and got 1 call back. At least she's keeping track. Love that, right? Keep track of your efforts. Under the umbrella of being responsible is field training. So as a field trainer, right, it's your responsibility as the trainer to make sure that the trainee goes with you on that appointment. If you're the trainee, well, you're the person learning. So it's not your responsibility, it's the trainer's responsibility. I've had many times it was a cancellation, and I would do what Grant did, which is like, let's just role play and let me go over my stuff. It's not the best thing, but it's the next best thing. The first best thing is watch me make phone calls to try to create a same-day appointment. Watch me knock on these doors to try to get a same-day appointment. Like, I still want to show you an appointment. I'm going to fight for my demo. After I give the effort to fight for my demo, then I'll just at least give you some sort of skill set as the trainer. I think that's a really good idea, and I love that Grant did that. The other one is campus help. If you're a local, you'll help out with some campus work. So say if you sign up, say, hey, I'm going to put out some of those signs on campus, or I'm going to run this table on campus. Just be responsible and actually do it. Because then we're counting on that school to let those students know that we exist, and we do advertising. That's public relations work. So that's what I mean by be responsible. All of those are quantifiable ways of saying, do what you say you're going to do and follow through. Follow through with agreements. Pretty simple stuff. Any light bulbs takeaways? Maybe one on that one? Under the umbrella of be responsible?
Just do what you're saying you're gonna do.
Pretty easy. It's easier said than done, right? I mean, if you really think about it, it's not what we know, it's what we apply. It's not what we know, it's what we do. The answers are all around us. I mean, if any one of you had any problems in your life, any struggles, anything you're dealing with, like whether it be losing weight or relationship, anything at all. Knowledge is not the challenge. You could Google search, you could go to a public library, you could go to a bookstore, you could find the answers all around us. The problem isn't the answers. The problem isn't the knowledge. The problem is the application of what we know. That's responsibility, ability to respond. Responsible, able to respond, right? Good, so that's number 2. So number 1, positive attitude. Number 2, be responsible. Number 3 is high communication. High communication. This one is really critical for me. I would say out of all 3 of these so far, I would say it's probably the most important. It is asinine. I'll tell you right now, I cannot work with someone that doesn't communicate. Like, I can't. And the reason why is because I'm running a business, and if I ask of something and they just go ghost, it's asinine for me. It's asinine for me. Like, I can't even put it into words, but it's really frustrating because I need to know information in a certain time frame, and the high communication is important. So high communication, what is it? What is entailed? You guys know this one. What are some things that come to mind with high communication immediately? What do you think? Clocking in. Oh my gosh, clocking in, for crying out loud. I don't even make you drive here. I don't even make you drive into the office to clock in. But we clock in by what time? Oh my God, and you know this. and we know this, right? So I'm being a little tongue in cheek. I'll stop. But clocking in, right? If you're the coach, if you're the manager, you got to be the first one to clock in, right? The first one. Thank you for that today, by the way. Right? You got to be the first one to clock in. So then it creates the ripple. As soon as you clock in, what happens? Oh shit, I got to do that.
I think I'm the person who clocked out today.
So that comes in the second one, which is clocking out. Go figure. Oh my goodness. You clock in, clock out. Right? Training, day 2. And then lastly is the end of day report, right? An end of day report. We all know that. But we've got to be the first ones to do it. As managers, you got to lead by example. High communication is critical. Hey, accept the ass whooping that comes with it. If you had a no sale, no rec, hey, get ready to get better, right? Put it on the public domain, get better. And then you seek best practices. What I would do every time I had a no sale, no rec, I would go to the Game Changer group and say, hey, I didn't have the appointment I wanted. Who has a best practice for me in order to get back on track with my sales or my recommendations? And seeking knowledge and seeking best practices and getting better. That's what should happen, in my opinion, when it comes to communication. So clock in, clock out, end of day report for sure. What else under the umbrella of high communication? What do you think? You guys know this one. Voice memos. How long?
30 seconds.
You know this. And when? When do we send the 30-second voice memo? After the appointment. Oh my gosh. Day 2 of training. All right, I said I was going to stop tongue in cheek, but I can't stop. I couldn't resist. Sorry. Maybe 1 or 2 more. But we got to get it. Why? Why as a manager should you send a 30-second recap of the activity? Call it a demo, call it a phone jam, call it you ran a workshop, call it you did a PR calling session, call it you went to campus. Why have a 30-second debrief with Mike as soon as the activity is done?
The way we talk to you is the way that we're talking to our reps.
I agree. If you communicate with me the right way, then you're going to be able to hold your reps to the same accountability. Otherwise, what was the word you guys used? Let's see. One of you guys said it. Implementation. So that way there's no hypocrisy. That's what I wrote. Implementation. One of you guys said that. Who's that? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think it was you. Or you. Implement.
I meant like you can tell someone's attitude.
And I could also hear your voice.
Memo, and if like someone's talking to you and they sound like me, and then they talk to their reps and sound like me.
Yep.
Then
100%. I got to hear that voice. You send me a text message, I can't hear your voice. You could be crying. It's like, oh, things are good, but I got to hear that voice, right? And I hear that voice. And especially if you're assistant manager and you're coaching other people, you can't text them. You got to voice memo them. You got to hear the voice for sure. And I want to hear your voice before you impact them, without a doubt. So the voice memos, without a doubt, are critical. So important. So important. The other 2 that I have on here you might not get, but feedback. I think feedback is really important as far as high communication. Working with me, I think being open to feedback, like you receiving feedback from me and me being open to feedback from you. I loved my conversation with Bella yesterday. I was like, give me feedback on the conference, and she was able to speak absolute open and candidly about her feedback on the conference. And I love that. I love that we have that line of communication, which is really good. So open and honest feedback, which is really good. What I like, what I didn't like, what could be improved. That's important with communication and creating the open lines. When you're the leader, I'll tell you right now, that doesn't happen all the time. In our conversation with Steven, he's taking over the white team. He's like, I posted something. What'd you expect? So what? Right? Creating the lines of communication is a little different. And we could probably ask Josh, why didn't you post anything to Steven's response? And he would be like, it wasn't important, it wasn't urgent. I know it didn't ask for me to respond. I didn't even know. Whatever his reasons are, right? But to create that open, honest feedback, that takes a little bit of time, it takes a little bit of communication, but you got to create that. And the last one I have is advance notice. Advance notice with communication. It's also asinine when, can you imagine you're the coach, you're the assistant manager, and you're running a workshop, let's say like a champions club, but it's not in the morning. Maybe it's at 5 o'clock on a Thursday and you want to host this workshop and you spent like 30 minutes of your time like preparing all your notes and like getting ready and like, getting ready for this workshop, and the 4 people that were signed up for the workshop, 3 of them last minute tell you, oh, by the way, I can't come. I won't be able to Zoom in today. Something came up. And then the other one's like 10 minutes late. Whose fault is that? 100% the leader's fault, always. It's always your fault. That means they did not receive how important it is to you. So if that ever happens to me, that's feedback for me. If anybody ever tells me they have to leave or miss something or whatnot, that's feedback for me. It's like, dang, I didn't make it that important for them. But as the leader for you, what that means is you need to give them advance notice and how important it is for them to be there. Oh, you signed up? Let me just let you know it's really important that you're there. Here's why. Here's what's in it for you. That's coaching. I'm going to go through that a little bit next week. But that's important to give your people advance notice when you're running a workshop. And it's also on the receiving end when you're giving me advance notice if you have to miss something or something comes up or whatnot. High communication is really important, whether it's with me or with your people. So let's come up for air on that one. High communication. Takeaways, light bulbs, maybe another 1 or 2 of you on that one. Intangibles of a manager. Please.
Making sure to, like, when you do send messages, to like get a response back, like to ask a question so they feel the need to reply.
Always end on a question, right? End on a question, like, or post an emoji afterwards. I could see. I literally could swipe right to see who saw my message. And I don't see any comments. I'm like, what the hell is this? So then what do? I go to my staff and I say, hey, can you start responding to that thing? So that way it creates more buzz. Sometimes that's what you need to do. Or if the staff doesn't do it, sometimes I'll copy and paste and send a direct message to a couple of people, like key staffers, be like, hey, did you see if you saw my post in the group, can you comment? You may have gotten one of those before. Right? Why? We got to create the buzz. Got to create the buzz with communication. So, excellent. What else?
Feedback, like being able to accept and give feedback.
Sometimes it's tough. Sometimes it's hard to hear the feedback, but here's the deal. If I ask you for feedback, so how'd you think about the conference? I felt like it just went really late and I was so tired. What? What are you, a wimp? Late? Oh my gosh. Come on, right? Like, that means I'm not open to I'm actually not receiving the feedback. Does everyone see? You can't ask the question, but not be ready to receive what's going to happen. I just had a conversation with one of my branches, by the way. Like, one of the branches was, my team feels like I did blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, maybe you did. Be open to the feedback. Ask them. And I said, be open to the feedback. Ask them. And she asked them. And they give her a piece of their mind. And she didn't like the piece of their mind very much. I said, well, that means as the leader, you need to be open to receiving their feedback. What great feedback for improvement, which is good. What a great journey for an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid to learn at such an early stage in life. Good. So we got the first 3. Positive attitude, be responsible, high communication. The last one, number 4, is show up prepared. Show up prepared. What do we mean by show up prepared?
Attack list.
Oh, so like a top list of people to call for a phone jam. I agree. I think that's good. That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh my goodness. God bless you, little boy. Yeah. Good boy. So attack list, without a doubt. Having it prepared. Why? What's the significance? Who would like to take a guess? You already know this, but I'm curious. Why for a short phone jam on a Wednesday night, having your top 30 list and a backup 30 list?
No flipping or scrolling.
So it saves time. No flipping or scrolling to save time.
You're just efficient, more efficient.
Way more efficient.
Like your top prospects that
That's number 1 reason. What is it?
top prospects.
That's number 2 reason. You've already premeditated your best prospects. So it's not like just writing down 30 people, the first 30. It's premeditating and selecting. If I were going to only show Cutco to 30 people this week, who would be most likely to buy over $1,000 from me? And I pick out and cherry pick as many as I can. Maybe that's only 10. And then I pick my next best 10 and then the next best 10. So it's in order. So when I call through my list twice, I'm calling my best people at the top first, of course. That's number one. Be efficient with your time, and you're calling your best people. That's it. Good. So what else? What else means under the umbrella of show up prepared?
Bring notes.
Notebook. Be ready to learn, right? Have a notebook. Be ready to learn. Absolutely. Every time you come into the office, show up prepared. Be ready to learn. Right? The whole purpose of you coming here is not your job. It's to learn stuff. Absolutely. What else show up prepared?
Energy.
Energy rich. You're going to meet new people. You're going to meet new people. You're going to meet people every time you come in here. You might remember this from training, right? What if, like, I mean, Jeff is going to be here on Tuesday, for example, right? So when you show up and Jeff's here, he says, hey, how are you? Oh, man. Oh, a little under the weather today. Oh, wow. Well, get better. And then he goes in another room and tells me, it's like, who's that guy? That's what I get, right? So bring energy. Be ready. Leave that stuff outside. Leave that stuff out. Jam out in your car. Listen to a song. Rock out. Get ready to learn. Get ready to work. 100%. Ready to learn attitude. Ready to work attitude. Positive. High energy. Ready, focused. Show up prepared. Especially if you're the manager. Especially if you're the manager. Especially if the person running the show. Got to be prepared mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, psychologically, for sure. What else? Show up prepared. We got a attack list. We got your phone approaches, right? You got a planner.
And be dressed.
Be dressed, right? Make sure you have clothes on, right? Right? If you're the leader, here's two rules of thumb. Either always dress a level above. That's the rule of thumb. Dress one level above. If it's a theme, same thing. You dress one level above the theme. So, for example, the theme tonight is we're going to play basketball. So I had to bust out my Jordan shorts, one level above, right? I didn't just wear any shorts tonight. I got the J's on, right? So one level above. So like, play on. But if it's like an event, right? We're doing a normal PSP. I usually wear a collared shirt, just like one level above. Everyone's gonna be casual. I'll have a collar shirt on, you know. Especially if you're running the PSP, you don't have to wear a shirt and tie, but just one level above. One level above. If it's going to war, battle theme, like camouflage, put the face paint on.
Bring guns.
Don't do that.
Miss Jones, it's just knives and guns. Just kidding, it's just knives.
This guy.
When they ask what Cutco is, it's
Ah,
knives and guns.
we got it. Context.
Okay.
All right. Context. Cool. We got this. Journal. Have a journal ready to take notes. We had planner. Have your planner, right? We said laptop. Have your laptop. Why would you want to have your laptop when you come in?
Is your spreadsheet on?
Your spreadsheet's probably on it, right? Maybe especially if you're an assistant manager, someone has someone wants to do some Facebook messaging or something like that, doing some recruiting or something along those lines. You have your laptop just in case they need it. Just in case we want to do a workshop or something, and do you mind if we use your laptop or something like that? I think that happened maybe once or twice, or we use yours. So just come in prepared, like you're going to school. So show up prepared. Be ready to learn, ready to work, ready to make phone calls. Have your stuff with you. So those are my 4. So yours that you listed off, we said lead by example, high communication, open-minded, receive feedback, implement, no hypocrisy, encouragement, high energy, understanding, being positive, loyal and compassionate, contagious personality, and having mystique. Those are great. Those are great lists. I give you my list. So how does this line up? So let's open up for discussion real quick, and then we'll wrap up. What comes out of this for you? Why do you think like Mike for a moment? Why is Mike running this as the first one? Why didn't I teach you how to recruit or how to coach? Like those are the next 2 workshops. Why did I start with this one first? If you had to think like Mike for a moment. We'll go Grant, then Danielle, then Nicole. What do you think?
Because when we're doing interviews and setting people up and all that, we want to be doing it from a manager position and mindset, and it's helping us get into that, realizing what it takes to be that type of person.
Excellent. What do you think?
So we know the qualities that we have to be in that position.
To embody the qualities, right? Yeah.
To have the core foundation to build off of, to know what you're expected to be like without the actual activities.
Yeah. In anything, sales, business, it's 20% skill set, 80% psychology. 20% skill set, 80% mindset. So why does the customer buy $1,000 from you? Is because your expectations. That's it. It's not because you said the right words on the sheet of paper. How do we know that? How many reps go out the first weekend and sell $1,000 their first weekend to mom and dad and their friends and friends' parents and relatives, and they're not good at the job? It's because their confidence and expectation is so high and their skill set is so low. Confidence and expectations is psychology. That outweighs the skill set every day of the week. But the skill set brings confidence, so it's kind of like a little whirlwind circle there. Trevor, what were you going to say?
To set a new standard. Step up. But to set the standard.
Guys set the standard. We got to now we all know. Now we all know what is the foundation for being a positive role model, for having the intangibles of being a leader. You're going to mess up. If you're working in my office, you're going to mess up. That's why it's Cutco through college. That's why it's not Cutco through one summer. And we want you to continue growing. We want you to continue to evolve. The purpose of running this workshop today and the workshop on Friday morning at 8:30 for recruiting, and the workshop the following Friday morning on how to be a coach. The purpose of these is because you are still have some level of interest in learning the next steps of behind the scenes of the business, where when you go to school and when school starts this fall, you can work behind the scenes in helping us hit some of our goals. I'm going to share some of those goals tonight. Some of you guys might know, some of you guys might not know, but our goal this year is to hit $1 million in sales, right? Anybody even know what we're at in sales for the year? We're after this last week, yeah, we are. So we're right at about 650,000. We're like 655 for the year. So in order for us to hit $1 million for the year, we got some moves to make, right? We got some moves to make. So we just finished this, 7th month, right? July. So now we're in the 8th month. So we have August, September, October, November, December. So we have 5 months to sell another 350,000, right? Last fall, we did right over 200,000. Just kind of put it in perspective here. So we only did 200 grand for the whole fall. So for us, now we're not comparing to last year, but we have some sort of like base that we're working towards. So if we only did 200 grand for the fall, we have to position ourselves to be between like 200 and 250 to have a shot in the fall to hit our goals as a team. How do we get there? We gotta do like about 100 grand in August to have a shot at this. How do we do 100 grand in August? We need everyone to hit their goals. You'll see tonight. Everybody that said their numbers and everyone's goals that I met with you, if everyone hits their numbers, it's in the bag.